Welcome to homework.
Okay, question 3 is very long, so we just deal with it step by step. Question A, use the model of aggregate demand and aggregate supply to illustrate the initial equilibrium of this long-run equilibrium in the market. So we just draw this short-run aggregate supply curve is upward sloping, and aggregate demand curve is downward sloping. And we know that the long run aggregate supply is always vertical. So I just draw a vertical line here, which crosses the intersection of these two lines. So this is long run aggregate supply. So we always have to have this graph in mind, and the y-axis is P, price level, and x-axis is Q, which is the output of quantity, the quantity output. All right, so we call the initial equilibrium point A. So now we can move on to answer question B. Question B is saying that the central bank raises the money supply by 5%. So we know that the central bank is giving out money to everyone because we have more money supply, right? So now everyone in the economy is feeling richer than before. So they might take their extra money to go shopping or to go on a vacation. So we have this short run aggregate demand curve shift to the right. So the short run new equilibrium is going to be this dot, call this B. Okay, question C. Now show the new long run equilibrium, call it C. So in the long run, what would happen? First of all, from point A to point B, what we have is a rise of price level. So everything in the market is getting more and more expensive. And in the short run, the quantity of output is increasing as well. But in the long run, since everything is more expensive, workers themselves will ask for a higher wage so that they can maintain their own living standard, right? So they will go to the company and ask their boss to pay them more. So from the standpoint of a firm owner, they think that it is costly to hire that much workers right now. So they will just fire some of them. So if they are fire workers, they can produce fewer goods. So the aggregate supply curve is going to shift to the left. That is because the wage goes up as the price level goes up. Okay, so firms cannot produce as many goods as it used to be. So this is point C. Okay, so now we have point A and B and C. So now we can answer question D. Question D is saying that according to the sticky wage theory of aggregate supply, how do nominal wages at point A compare to nominal wages at point B? So sticky wage theory is just saying that in the short run, the wage is sticky. It is difficult or not very profitable for the manager of the firm to change their workers' wage. So the nominal wage of point A workers and point B workers are actually the same. But what about point C workers and point A workers? So now we're talking about nominal wage. So nominal wage is positively correlated with the price level. So since we know that in point C we have a higher price level, workers will ask for a higher wage, right? So the nominal wage in point C is higher than point A. But what we really care about is the real term in this economy. That is what the question E is asking. So question E is asking us to compare the real wages of these 3 points. So how do we compare real wages? We can just simply look at the vertical line, which is the long run aggregate supply. So these 3 dots, the long run aggregate supply, for A and C are the same. So I'll just write it here. So the real wage is like related to the long run aggregate supply. So actually the real wage of point A and C are the same, while the real wage of point B is a little bit higher than point A and point C, because at point B we have the largest we have the like biggest long run the biggest aggregate supply and demand in equilibrium, but it will go back to the original level very soon. Okay, so question F is like a summary of this question. So judging by the impact of the money supply on nominal and real wages, is this analysis consistent with the proposition that money has real effects in the short run, but is neutral in the long run? So the answer is yes, because we know that if we take a look at the real wage in the short run, which is the point B we have right here, sorry, color red, we know that in the short run, everyone is like actually doing better because they have a higher wage. They produce, they want to buy more things and they can really buy more things. But in the long run, they will go back to the equilibrium and go to the same level right here where point A and C lies on this vertical line. So this is why, like in the short run, this policy, this monetary policy of printing out money, increasing the money supply is going to work, is that there is like a small change of the real wage, like in the short run, but then in the long run, this effect is not working, and we have this neutrality in money.